So, hello everyone, and thank you so much for taking out time to join this event, which is the FAANG Series. And we are really excited to begin this series with Aanshul Sadaria. So, I'm Khushi Sharma, working from Community Development in Zubi, and the whole team of Zubi has always aimed to develop a sustainable ecosystems for all the students out there, which can revolve around these emerging technologies and can explore a whole new world of education. So we're going to start off with this event now. And so I would like to introduce Anshul's technical aspects first. So Anshul is working as a software engineer at Google for time being. He has also been an Institute Gold Medalist at IIIT Hyderabad. He has also worked as a first inventor at Adobe and as a researcher at Prego. So Anshul, would you like to add something which is not so technical and something personal about you?
Yeah, sure. So actually, a lot of people don't know. Like when they hear all of this stuff, they think like I'm kind of geeky and nerdy. So that is not who I am. Actually, I have a diploma in photography. I write as well. I travel blogs. I write poems and a lot. And apart from that, I travel a lot. I'm a travel freak. I'm a big foodie. So whenever I get a chance to escape from the hustle and bustle of life, I definitely prefer to like just go for solo trips or go for trips with friends. And that is my like when I have to decloud myself with the thoughts that are going on, that is my thing that I prefer. So that is
Wow,
something
that's
like non.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's something really a human behavior to think of you as a geeky stuff. But yeah, like that's really great to know. So yeah, we're gonna begin with some questions now. So the first question is, how and when did you begin the preparation for this particular role?
So actually, the preparations, if we say it started after my second year. So in the fifth semester, that is the beginning of the third semester, we have our internship drive beginning. So it was there in the last month of my vacations. We have a 3 month vacation. So in the last month of my vacations, I started preparing for the coding round and the interviews. So I started preparing on interview bit, and then I was a constant competitive coder on CodeChef and Codeforces. So that was something that I didn't leave like for my first 2 years. But then I started like looking on Geeks for Geeks for the interview preparations, like what kind of questions are asked and how you should respond to them, and what all different phases of the interview is. So that is something that began in my fifth semester. But for the placement, like the SWE role at Google in particular, I started preparing in my seventh semester. That was like one semester before the placement drive began.
Okay, great. So we have the second question for you. That is, what would have been your perspective for preparing the same role in your first or second year of college?
So actually, my perspective would have been a lot different because for me, the first and second year where I purely focused on my academics. So I didn't explore a lot. So that is something that I would like to have changed if I go back in time. Then this is something that I would love to advise myself and to all the first and second years right now. So for the first years, actually, I would have started to ask them to enjoy their college life, but sadly, life doesn't go as it is expected. So now that they have limited opportunity due to the COVID situation, I would have, if I was in their situation, focus more on data structures and algorithms. So start off with an object-oriented programming language like Java or C++. Don't start off with Python because Python is easy. The syntax is very encapsulated and abstract. You don't get to touch on to the grounds of how the particular data structure is implemented, right? Like the stacks and the queues and all those different sets and everything, they are pre-implemented in Python. So you don't have the flexibility to work around with them, which is provided in Java and C++. So start off with that. And I would say just don't start off with a particular language. First, try to understand the problems and try to solve them logically rather than solving them via some language. So start off with the A level problems on code forces and easy or cakewalk problems on code chef. Try to understand the problem and try to create the solution in your own mind. Then after you have learned a particular programming language, approach to solve it. So that is something on the data structures and algorithms side. Now, uh, understand how you can like, as I said, that understand first how you can solve them logically, and then only approach to solve the problem with a particular language. So try to explore different fields like web development, Android development, and in your first year, like that is something that you should definitely do apart from your college activities, if the college was open, obviously. But yes, so explore a lot. Try not to stick to one of them and keep the stone rolling. So you will have a better clarity on what you want to do in future. So also try to explore open source. So that is something where you learn collaborative, like how you can collaborate with others on a large problem, and how you can like collaborate in a community, like how you can contribute in a community. That is something that you will learn only via open source. So that is something that I would have surely done if I could rewind the time back by 4 years. And there are a lot of opportunities in open source, like Major League Hacking, GSOC, and all the stuff. So try to get as much information as possible for all of them. So that is something that a first year should concentrate on. For the second year students, participate in hackathons, which help you grow your ideas and visions. It helps you realize the designs that are in your mind and then put them into perspection. Like it helps to understand different aspects of product building, which otherwise you can learn only in the corporates. So that is something like hackathons help you a lot in that. Participate in competitive coding contests like on CodeChef, Codeforces, HackerRank, HackerEarth. So that is something that you should keep on doing. It should be treated like a brain exercise rather than something which you are forced to do. So don't like it should not be a to-do goal, but it should be like something that you are doing for fun, competitive coding. So if you're not having fun with competitive coding, stop there and just keep on practicing with data structures and algorithms, right? And apply for a lot of companies off campus. So the second year should focus on applying a lot of companies off campus, because I know like the chances of getting an interview would be quite less for second years, but nevertheless it gives you an opportunity to learn something which I didn't do in my second year, neither in my third year nor in my fourth year. Like how strangely it may sound, I didn't apply off campus anywhere apart from Google. So that is something that I would have wanted to do. And for Google in particular, like there is a program known as Step Intern, which is available for the second year students. So I would definitely recommend them to apply. Like it's available in Singapore, but the application dates are closed for that. It will soon open in Europe and it will open in India as well. So if you haven't, start like sharpening your X for the data structures and algorithms, and then give it like apply it however under prepared or well prepared you are. Like it will at least give you an opportunity to interview, like get an interview, and you will get to learn a lot from that interview itself. And another thing is that Google has some flagship contests like Kickstart and CodeGen. So
Yeah.
they are the easiest way that you can get to the interviews. A great rank in one of the rounds can assure you the interviews at least. Like they can bypass the resume screening and all the stuff. And after the step intern, you have a very good chance to be called again for an intern in your third year. And then after the intern, because Google has invested 2 years in you and they would not want to waste that time and that talent. So they are like 99%, it will be guaranteed that if you are called for step intern and intern, they are going to give you a full time opportunity. So that should be a roadmap for the first year and second years.
So like we should definitely try and going for the step intern and
Yep.
the other Google programs for the first and second year.
Yes.
So like if you can just brief us about what kind of preparation will the Google step intern program would need, like data structures and algorithms definitely, but like we would like just brush up on them, or what kind of preparation will that program need?
So actually, Step Intern is more of like a training program rather than an intern program where you will learn a lot rather than contributing to Google. So not much is expected. Like if you look at the careers page as well, you should be just fond of learning new things. That is what they expect. A
Oh,
decent CGPA would be a really good thing to have. Like a 9+ CGPA would be amazing for them. And if you are strong in your CS fundamentals, like I'm not sure if by your second year you get to learn a lot of CS fundamentals, but I think networking, database, operating systems is something that you learn in your first 2 years. So a good control over those fundamentals would be really good if you have like if you want to crack that interview.
okay, great. Yeah. So definitely. Okay, so the next question is, what are the three things that you feel you should have done earlier which could have helped you get on this journey?
So honestly speaking, like I was someone who made use of opportunities rather than someone who created opportunities. So I would definitely want to have created opportunities for me so that it helped me grow more. So first, like I spoke in the previous question as well, like when you asked about first years and second years, I spoke
Yeah.
most of the things and I didn't do any of them. So that is something that I would have wanted to do to get like started early on in this journey. But still, like in my first year, I would have wanted to focus less on my academics, like maintaining a decent CGPA. But along with that, I would have wanted to explore a lot more, which I didn't do in my first year at all. I was completely geeky and nerdy, as my LinkedIn resume sounds. So that is something I would have wanted to change. And as I said, that apart from Google, I didn't apply for any companies off campus. So applying for them would have given me a lot more experience with interviews. And during my internship, actually, I failed in 5 interviews. So that is something that I would have wanted to change at that time. If I had applied for more off campus, I would have gotten more interview chances. I would have gotten more feedback from people. So that would have helped me a lot applying off campus. So actually, I was in that comfort zone, like off campus. Why do you want to go off campus when like companies are coming to Triple IT Hyderabad? So that comfort zone became a really negative point for me, and I would have wanted to break that comfort zone. Like you learn a lot more if you apply for off-campus interviews as compared to on-campus interviews. Then I feel that I would have wanted to build a stronger and wider connections within my batch. If you ask my batchmates, like they would have told that he's a person who doesn't speak a lot, and that sometimes appears as arrogance because my CGPA was like relatively good, so people thought that he has a higher CGPA, so he's an arrogant, nerdy person. But that wasn't right. I was like a little shy of in initiating the conversations, so like becoming a more extrovert with people within my batch and with my seniors and to the wider connections on LinkedIn would have like given me like I didn't know any of the opportunities that existed for me. So those connections would really help me a lot knowing the opportunities that I had as a CS students. Even as of now, I know only 5 to 10% of the opportunities that are available for a CS student in research and product domain. So that would have helped me a lot knowing the opportunities that I have. So those are
So,
the three things that I want to focus on. Like I would have wanted to focus on that.
yeah, okay, so great. So, yeah, this is something that is completely relatable for me as well. So, like, what do you think, something that has been your most powerful asset or something that just proved really advantageous for you in your whole preparation journey that really, that you think that, okay, this thing particularly helped me get this role. So, yeah, what is that
Okay.
one thing?
So I don't think there are one things. There would be multiple things I think, but I would like to focus on two things that come off to the top of my mind. First of them is a good friend circle. I had a really encouraging set of friends who helped me motivate. Like I remember when I was shortlisted for Google interviews. So I was like, I had my end in between. So it was declared sometime like 10 days before the actual interview was to be there. And in between, we had our end sems. And I hadn't prepared, obviously, because I'm an engineer. Preparing like last day is what we do. So I hadn't prepared. So I was like confused, like, what should I focus on? Exams or preparing for the interviews? So my friends were like, that do whatever you want, it's your choice obviously, but in future you should not regret that because of this end semester exams for only the 7th semester you are missing a whole lifetime opportunity which can change your career in a completely different way. So that is something that I still remember and that hit me like it was the nail in the coffin where I decided that let's get aside of the answers, let's focus on the interview. And those words like struck me a lot. So my like the friend, he was not getting he didn't get shortlisted for the interview at Google. Still he was encouraging me to like prepare for the interviews and hit the nail. So those type of friends is something that you want to have in your life. Like even though we were competing for the same position, he was the one who got excited when I got selected and we went for a party. So that was something really touching for me. And the second most powerful asset I think is that I didn't give up. Like as I told you, in my internships, I failed in like I was rejected in 5 interviews. But nevertheless, like it took me 1 2 days to like brush aside the feelings of that rejection, but not giving up, keeping on trying this thing again and again, like that was the most powerful asset I feel, which is necessary for preparing in such a wide community of computer science. Like you are going to reject, like you are going to get rejected in a lot of things. So if you feel down and give up, then that is not going to help you in your journey. So I would like to like focus on one instance which I remember. I interviewed at D Shop. So the interview began at 8 a.m. in the morning and it ended at 6 p.m. in the evening. So it was like one headache for me, like interviewing for such long hours. And I was rejected in the HR interview, which I came to know the next day. And I had almost given off party to my friends that particular evening, but like the next day I learned that out of the two persons selected for the HR round, only one of them is selected, and that is obviously not you. So my friends were like that we need to get your planets aligned a lot, like you don't have luck on your side.
Yeah.
So like it was really depressing and demotivating for me, but like I coped up with it in a certain way. I travel a lot, so traveling is something which I used to decloud my brain. So that helped me a lot to get back on the track again and appear for the next interview.
Yeah, so also I would like to ask you one more question. So you said that we should, like continue just applying to some internships or all. But a lot of people feel that their resume might not be that up to mark. Like maybe we do not have that much of experience until now. So like, should we still apply for those internships? Because we have a very little chance to apply for it. So a lot of people are like, we won't be able to get it. So why even apply for it? We don't have that kind of resume which will be able to get up to the mark. So, like, what's your take on it?
So that is some pseudo fear I can say that people have, like fear of getting judged. It is there. It's a human issue. Like we all of them we have that. But to get rid of that, I would suggest that ask the community in LinkedIn. Like if you're approaching for Google, ask some Google employees like Swedes over there and ask them that how good is my resume? Like uh, can you just review my resume or something like that? So they will definitely help you out. I have helped a lot of people, like they approach me on LinkedIn and they ask me that this is my resume, can you help me out, like what all should be there, what should not be there, and how it should be placed. So I help them out with whatever they have done, like I help them to organize their experience. So that is something that you should try. Like don't fear asking people. Ask 10 people. I think 9 of them will not like reply to you, they will ignore you, but one person would definitely will. So that is something that you should like the fear should brush aside and you should keep on messaging people. Like don't fear messaging people, they will help you out.
So, we should always try to approach people, even though we think that it's not might be up to the mark, but we can still try for it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then they will also tell you like if something is missing in your work experience. Let's say you are applying for a front end role and your experience in front end role is not up to the mark, then they will definitely guide you that something this is something that you should have done if you want to apply for this position. Then that is also something that like helps you know that whether you are on the right track or not.
No, definitely. Yeah. So, okay, the next question is what are your go to coding resources that you would like to recommend other students who are trying for the same simulated roles?
Okay, so the go-to resources, as I said, that in your first year, start with Code Forces and Code Chef. Start solving different problems for them, difficulty by difficulty. Like, don't jump off to the difficult problems first. Try to understand them logically, then approach solving them, and then interview bit is like interview bit and lit code, both of them helped me a lot, like to understand how different problems are asked in the coding round as well as the interviews for different companies. That is something that both of them helped me a lot. And Geeks for Geeks was my go-to website whenever I was stuck on some algorithm, like if I wanted to know how you can improvise this algorithm more, then Geeks for Geeks was always there for me, even if my friends were not sometimes. So those few resources and plus Hacker Rank and Hacker Earth contest would also help you a lot, because there is something like this coding rounds happen mostly on Hacker Rank or Hacker Earth. That is the go-to platform for the companies to host their coding rounds. So you get familiar to the interface, and like the first experience of that can be a little tacky if you're not used to that platform. So if you practice coding on that platform, then it helps you ease off your nervousness for the coding round that you're going to approach.
Okay, so and what kind of resources for these are like for practice, but like what kind of resources maybe for something like DS and Algo particularly. So if like someone wants to start off with that, so maybe Geek for Geeks we should prefer. That's I guess your take on it.
Yeah, I think like you can start on what interview bit does is they have a level by level program. Like they start off with the mathematical problems, then arrays, strings, and they go on to by difficulty by difficulty. So you can pick up interview bit like the levels that they have arranged, and then you can go on to geeks for geeks. Like what are the mathematical problems for data structures and algorithms? What are the array problems on data structures and algorithms? And then you can learn them. And along with that, you can keep on solving the same. Like CodeChef and CodeForces, both of them have tagged problems. You can filter a problem by the tags. So if you have an array, like if you're practicing arrays right now, you can filter by arrays and try to solve problems on CodeForces and CodeChef. So that is how you can serially move on to.
Okay. Okay, so I get it. Thank you. So, yeah, so how did you apply for this role, and what was the application like?
So for me, as I said, that I didn't create opportunities. I made use of the opportunities available to me. So I had Google coming on campus at IIIT Hyderabad, but I think this question is specifically designed for the tier 3, tier 4 colleges where companies like Google, Microsoft, and the FAANG companies, as we call, they don't come, right? So off campus, approach people on LinkedIn. Like if you have a relative who is working on one of the companies, then it's the best thing. If you don't have, don't worry. Approach people on LinkedIn, as many as you can. Some of them will reply, some of them will not. Ask them for a referral. Like tell them that you have this particular skill set. Just don't jump up and tell them that I want a referral. Can you give me a referral? Like if I was an employee, I would have wanted to know that why should I give this person a referral? So just mention that explicitly in your message that I have this particular skill sets. This is my coding profile. These are my achievements. And then can you give me a referral for this? Then after you have got the referral for Google, you need to accept that invitation, the referral invite, and then you can apply off campus directly, like on the careers page. So that application process is as simple as that. Then the things go on to auto mode. First of there will be resume screening. If you are selected after resume screening, you will be called for the phone interviews. So for interns, there will be 2 to 3 interviews at max, and for full-time roles, there will be around 4 to 5 interviews. There can be an HR round as well afterwards, like the sixth round. So after that, there will be a hiring committee review where the hiring committee will decide like what should be the final decision, whether this person is fit for Google or not. And then you will get your answer like rejection or exception.
Okay, okay. I get it. Okay. Yeah. So, what has been your experience with the coding round for this particular role? A very general and a specific question.
So coding rounds are really tricky for companies like Google and Microsoft because all of you don't get the same question, right? There are like around 30,000 applications for a particular role, and then all of you like get different sets of questions. One of them can be on heaps, one of them can be on binary trees, one of them can be on graphs, and one on DP. So according to me, like the questions that are asked in the coding round are really simple. If you cool your head once, like take 5 to 10 minutes to just read the questions. After you have read both the questions completely, you need to set the priority, like which question is in your forte. Like if I am more well prepared for trees than like say DP, then I would have wanted to approach the tree problem first and then the DP problem. So that is how you organize in your coding route. Take 5 to 10 minutes first for that, then design the solution for that, and then start coding. Don't just jump off to coding. That is something like you need to make sure during the coding round so that you can save time for the future questions.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So, do you think being a part of college community can help you with these particular roles as well?
So I think I don't know about different other colleges, but IIIT Hyderabad in particular, we have lots of clubs. Like we have programming clubs wherein like there are contests on code forces and code chef. So there are virtual contests within our college itself, like one person challenges the other person, and then there is a pseudo battle kind of a thing. So it is also live telecasted within our college network. So
Oh,
there is this culture of coding which we have nurtured it well since like IIIT Hyderabad started, and this culture is something which is driving the people more and more towards competitive coding, and that has particularly helped to crack this interviews a lot. So I think like uh, other colleges should also focus on developing a coding culture. Like They have good DSC clubs. I know, like a lot of colleges have this
Yeah.
DSC clubs. They help you a lot with like open source and exploring different options that are there in Google Cloud and stuff which is related to Google. But along with that, there should be clubs on coding in particular, where like the seniors should promote this healthy competitive attitude between the students. So that would help them a lot for this coding rounds and internships and placements.
Okay, so like there are also a lot of other community programs. For example, there are some kind of scholarships like the MLH program. That's
Yes.
not a kind of scholarship, but like a lot of women scholarships as well. So like, what do you think that really helps us in some particular engineering goals? Or these are like something that just helps you keep intimate yourself in your personality.
So it helps in both of them, I think. Like it is not a part of college community in particular, but it is a part of a wider community, like across the globe. This MLH and GSOC and Outreachy and Women in Tech and a lot of opportunities out there for women. So these are not restricted to the college communities. I think people should use the social media in a positive way to know of the opportunities that they have and then be a part of this wider community so that they know that how they should start off with this. Like me in particular, I never knew how to get started off with open source programs. I still
Yeah.
don't know how to get started with open source programs. But if I had approached like people who have already cracked GSOC or MLH, for example, like it's rather new, but still. So then it would have helped me a lot to be a part of the community.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so how has your journey till so far with Google? So it's definitely a big thing for all the audience out there, for us as well. So like, how did this feeling just help you get through, or like what was the whole experience and what has been it like until now?
So actually, we were to be onboarded on in July, but due to some issues, like we had to postpone till August. So at that time, all of our first reaction was we missed 1 month working at Google, and obviously the salary that you get at Google. But still, like missing out on the Google culture was something that we were first sad about. And in this, talking about my team in particular, I work in cloud search. So what my team lead manager says that this team is 4 to 5 years old, which is rather new in terms of the Google time span. And there were 5 team members up until 2019. And in 2020 itself, the team has grown threefold. So, and none of them have seen each other's faces. So that's the most strange part about it. They all joined after the COVID season, so none of them have really talked with each other. So that culture of like a colleague culture that we can say is not there due to this COVID situation in particular. But still, like those who have been there for 10, 12 years, they try a lot to make sure that you feel at home and not aloof. So my team lead manager and my mentor in particular are really awesome. I should say I am blessed to be in that team. So my manager is really patient. I keep on asking the same question again and like again and again, and he patiently solves all the problems. Like in spite of him having his own work, his own priorities, he takes out a lot of time to explain me these things because he also knows that in this particular work from home situation, it is really difficult to onboard. Like getting started in a corporate culture straight from the colleges is really difficult. And me, like I'm the youngest in the team because like I and one more person are the only college graduates in the team. So for both of us, it's really been kind of they treat us like babies, like making us teach how to walk and how to stand and how to sit. And so that is really impressive to be a part of this Google culture.
Yeah, Google is known for that. Like, though, everyone has a dream. Like, what I think is, like, for all the engineering students, I might be wrong, but it's like a dream for everyone. It's like, okay, yeah, something that we can do, or like, we really want to do is get into Google, Microsoft. These are the companies which are like, yeah, yeah, we can, but we won't be able to. So that's something that's a really common notion around all of us. But yeah, so yeah, now I'll just give the mic to you, and if you want to give any special insights to our audience out there.
Yeah, so actually, the attitude during an interview is really important. Like the steps that I guided you, like the opportunities that you had. So I guided you about that. So that can only help you getting an interview. but to crack that interview is also a really different thing altogether, which lot of people don't learn it in an easy way. Like I learned it after my 5 failures. I still am not a pro at this, but still my experience make me capable of suggesting this to the audience. So what people say, like you usually would have heard that talk aloud with the interviewer. You and your interviewer should be connected. That is a common thing what most of the people will tell you. But what happened during my interviews was that what I thought was a connection for me was a gibberish to him. Like I wasn't clear in my thoughts. I was speaking something which I think it made sense, but for the interview it didn't make any sense at all. So take some time to like order, arrange your thoughts and then speak. Don't speak off and jump off directly. And one thing that I've noticed really makes a lot of difference is that turn on your cameras. Obviously, due to this COVID situation, you will be having online interviews. So try to keep your cameras turned on and start off with a smile, like, "Hey, good morning. Hey, good afternoon," like whatever the name is, like, "Hey, Khushi, good morning." So that will automatically bring a smile onto your face as well, because like smile is contagious, as they say. So
Yeah.
that really helps to like it is a kind of hormone that connects you and the interviewer, so both of you feel positive about each other. And something that people don't really know about interview is this, that the interviewer wants you to succeed as well. He is using 1 hour of his day not to reject you. His task is to select you and not reject you. So people usually are scared that the interviewer is going to ask me difficult questions. No, he's not going to ask you difficult questions. He's going to judge your character in the difficult questions. It's okay to not solve the problem, but it is not okay to give up onto the problem, right? And uh, what I can say else is that yes, so go try to mock interview a lot, like with your friends or with some of the seniors. Try to approach some of the seniors and tell them, "Can you conduct my mock interview? I have this particular interview in future, let's say 14 days ahead. So I want to prepare for this." So it will help you brush off the initial nervousness. So you will save a lot of time that you spend during the interview for ice breaking, and you will start off confidently. So mock interviews are something that are underestimated, but they should be really promoted. So that is something that is really important for the interviews. And the other thing is that try to behave in a way where you think that it's your first day with the interviewer. You and your interviewer are working on some particular problem. If you approach the problem with that particular mindset, then it helps, like it there is a level of friendship between you and the interviewer, and it gives you the positivity. It gives you the illusion that yes, he is my friend and we both have to solve a problem together, and I am explaining my particular approach to him. And try to listen to the interviewer, because the interviewer will give you hints in between. If you keep on speaking continuously like I am speaking right now, and then it will be really difficult for the interviewer to give you hints. So pause in between. When the interviewer asks you a question, give a 3 to 4 second pause and then speak. So that will really help you in the interviews.
Okay, so I think we're gonna take up some questions from the audience now, and
Definitely.
yeah. So the first question is a very basic one. So yeah, what is FAANG?
So FANG is the Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, the companies. But I think it is overhyped. There are a lot of good companies. Like people think that these 5 companies are the only go-to companies. There are thousands of companies available to you who will give you the same level of confidence, who will give you the same level of career opportunities and the growth that you want. So just it is good to aim for the stars, but don't be disappointed if you don't get into FANG. So there is a new concept known as Tagma as well recently, like Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Apple. So these slangs are created by people to create an illusion that these companies are the only best, but that is not the thing. Keep your mind open and prepare yourself for the wide CS domain that is outside this FANG or Tagma.
Okay. So my question is, I'm local guide level 6 and I'm doing work for the crowd south. What do I do future by both?
So hi Sirish, good evening. By you saying local guide level 6, you are talking about Google Maps, I think, where we crowdsource the opinions of the people. Like you must have seen that we ask certain questions regarding the places that you have visited. Like, is there a wheelchair access? Is there a elevator? Is there, or like different questions which helps to improve the Google Maps. So I think this is the crowdsource that you are talking about.
Yeah.
So if you want to, I'm not sure what future you're talking about, but if you want to go into one of the companies as a software engineer, then as I said, like you should start brushing up your skills on data structures and algorithms, and that is something that will help you crack the graduate level SWE roles. If you are an experienced person, like you have some domain experience in some company, then you will get system design questions as well. So brush up the OOPS concepts for that, and make sure that your CS fundamentals are strong. Then I think you would be ready for the interviews, and just apply and brush off your nervousness.
Yeah, okay. So one question from my side as well. So what do you think, like you mentioned in the starting that if you're in first or second year, so you should start with C++ and Java preferably. But like what
Yeah.
if someone is already not on the go with Java or these preferred languages, or he or she's starting with something else? So what should be the path after that? Like should they jump onto other languages, or should they like continue doing that, or like what should be the whole path?
Okay. So I think by starting off with some different language, let's say that you start off with Python, for example.
Yeah.
So my point about promoting Java and C++ was that those are harder languages to learn. If you learn those languages, then it will help you to learn other languages faster in future. On
Yeah.
the other hand, languages like Python are really easy. They abstract a lot of implementation from the user. Like you just do sort and it sorts automatically. There is some magic happening behind, which is not in your control. You use sets in that set.insert, set.erase. So those things automatically happen in Python. There is no control that you have in hands. So if you have that control by using Java and C++, I think the future languages that you want to learn will be quite easier. But that being said, that if you know that you want to become a web developer only, like your focus is a front end developer, then I think it is not necessary for you to like jump back, go back again and learn Java and C++. Keep on learning new like frameworks for that, like React JS is there, Angular JS is there. So brushing up those things would be better for you. But as I said, that in the first year, don't stick on to one thing. Try to explore as much as possible. So from that perspective, I suggested that start off with Java or C++.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the next question is, how will hackathon experience help for tier three colleges? So I think it's based on the community experience. Like, how
Yeah.
can the hackathons and things like they can help for particularly top tier three colleges?
So hackathon has two different aspects of it. One is that it increases your visibility to the wider community out there. So if you mention on, I have seen a lot of people on LinkedIn that they were the finalist in Smart India Hackathon, or they were the winner in a particular uh, what I say, particular field of Smart India Hackathon. So that helps you increase your visibility, because companies out there don't recognize your college or don't recognize your work. So you need to promote your work, whatever you are doing. Or if you're learning something, then promote it on LinkedIn, right? So that is something that I can tell is like social learning, that you learn with people. You learn from social media what all you can do. You learn from LinkedIn that what all things are going on right now. Then you use that thing to build something of your own self, and then you promote it. So that helps you increase your visibility, particularly for tier 3, tier 4 colleges. And apart from that, it uh, promotes an attitude of building things. Like we all have lots of ideas in our day-to-day lives, that I want to create this, I want to create that. But it is in hackathon that you actually conceptualize the things and put them into implementation, and see how a dinosaur turns out into that Google offline dinosaur ultimately. So that is something that will help you understand your reality in a better way.
Okay, great. So, how can Google get the program in regional languages for the programming?
Hi, Google can get the program in regional languages for the programming. I am not sure what this particular question means. Do you want to say that you want to have C++ in Hindi or any regional language? I
I,
don't think that is I don't think that is controlled by Google. It is a part of wider community. So you can, if you want to code in some regional language, then I surely think that you should try open source. There are a lot of cool projects which are going on for programming in regional languages. So I saw on LinkedIn once that there was, I don't remember the name of that language, but they were trying to build a language in Hindi, especially
Oh,
for those people who don't understand English a lot. So they are doing a really cool job. I am sorry that I don't remember the name, but then you should definitely try to explore the open source problems that are available. It will help you a lot more for regional languages for programming.
okay, great. The next question is one success mantra which you would like to share with us.
Remove fear. Like, I know it's the ideal thing to ask. uh, it's a human tendency to get scared of things they don't know about. But if you get scared of things you don't know about, then try to know about it. We are even scared to try to know about it. People fear approaching other people. So at least that fear should not be there. Approach other people, approach your seniors or on LinkedIn to try to know something that you don't know, to try to know your opportunities. So once you know your opportunities, you will know that you have a wide spectrum available to you, and you can choose the path which is designated for you in particular, in which you are feasible, which is like more comfortable for you. So that will be one success mantra, to remove the fear as much as possible.
Okay. Okay, a big question. So, what is the percentage of selection of Indian students being selected in foreign Google business internship while the student is in engineering? And how can we improve the chances or how to take referrals for it? So, yeah, three in one question, all to
I
you
will
now.
start. I will start from the back. How to take the referrals for it? First
Yeah.
of all, if you are an engineering student and you want to apply for business internship, I'm not sure what you call by a business internship. Do you mean that associate program manager? That is something that is available for. Uh, that is something that is available at Google while the student is doing engineering. Then you should first look at the job description, like what they expect of you. After you have understood it particularly, try to ask people who have been in the similar position, like some person who is a program manager or an associate program manager right now. Ask them that how did they approach being in engineering, because I in particular, I surely don't know how to approach for business internships, but they would have a lot more knowledge about it. So ask them. And how to take referrals, as I said in the beginning itself, like don't just say that, hi, I am Anshul, I want, like, can you give me a referral? Like, why should the other person give you a referral without knowing you? First, draft a particular message in a proper way, that these are my achievements, this is my skill set, this is my resume. Would it be possible for you to review my resume and my skill sets and possibly give me a referral for this? The person would not directly reject it if he's like, he or she is from Google or one of the good companies where there is a supportive culture. So they will guide you that how you can do better and what are the possible options for you. So that is how you can improve your chances. And I'm not sure about the percentage in particular, but for India, if I say, like, the percentage of selection is less than 1%, it's almost around 0.05% that you can get selected for internships or full-time employment.
Okay. So, yeah, so how can I approach DSA since TFG is a very intimidating platform? Can you recommend any good video source for DSA? So,
So
it's,
right,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so right now there are a lot of YouTube tutorials going on. Like, this has been a crazy rage over the internet, that people who get onto Google or Microsoft or Amazon, they are opening their own channels. They are
Yeah.
doing some podcast and they are also teaching DSA along with that. So that is something really great, like to learn from the people who have cracked that interview in particular. So you
Mhm.
can approach those video sources, like not particular channel I would recommend, but you can just Google, like, YouTube tutorials for, let's say, stacks. Then you will get a list of options. Then you can prioritize by where the person is working. Like, if you have preference that a person is working in Amazon and you want to apply for Amazon, then watch that video. You can also sort by the views that the person, like, that the video has got. So that is something that is an open source thing. For organized video sources, I think CodeChef has this DSS series, where they are teaching via, like, different videos. They are recruiting people in the industry to build videos for the community, but that is paid. So there are two options for that: paid and unpaid. So if you want to go a bit more organized, then those options are really good if you are willing to pay some money. But apart from that, the YouTube tutorials are pretty decent as well. Like if you don't want to pay.
So, like, how did you prepare for DSA when you were not aware with it? So, like, what we would love to know, like, what was your whole experience with beginning from DSA? Because it's something that a lot of people find difficulties with. Me being a tech person as well, I also find myself a lot of difficult in DSA. So, what was like
Hmm.
your mantra for DSA particularly?
So actually, in my college, we started in the first semester with C programming. So we
Yeah.
learned the programming. Along with that, we used to have this online coding assignments. So that
Hmm.
involved DS in particular. So those questions led to self-study. We used to self-study if we are not able to solve that particular problem, ask, discuss that among the friends. So that helped in increasing our productivity and our affection towards data structures and algorithms. Because since it's a part of assignment, all of the people are going to do it, right? Because they want marks at the end of the day. So that is something that you can't leave. And then we also had data structures and algorithms course in particular. So for me, like as I said, that opportunities were given to me, and I was glad that I had those opportunities. But even in those colleges that don't have these courses, you, as I said, can start off with first understanding the logical approach behind a particular problem in code forces or code chef easy questions, and then try to learn C++, or Java, let's say, and try to solve them step by step. So those problems, they have been organized by the difficulty level, and they will help you reach the proficiency that you need to crack the interviews. So if you follow them, like A level, B level, C level, D level, then you yourself will understand how your growth is, and it will help you in your like data structures and algorithms. So
Okay.
that is what actually I did. Like I started directly on in my first week itself. I started with Code Forces and Code Chef. Even though I didn't know the language, I just used to read the questions, and they used to fascinate me, like how a programming language can solve this particular question. I wanted to know that thing. So that increased my curiosity, and that curiosity led to me learning different languages, and then keep on solving. Like this is an inertia. An object in motion will stay in motion. So once you get that inertia, it's difficult to get stopped.
Yeah, so like you started from the first day itself, like from the first sem, first week, you were like, on, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because everyone around you is doing something. Like if you look at the seniors, they are also coding. If you're looking at your peers, they are also coding. So that is something, like you can call it a peer pressure, but I think I call it a community driven thing. Like the community drives that thing. So that is something that helped me a lot.
Yeah, no, I perfectly believe, like, the surroundings which you are in, that really matters a lot. That really defines about what are you going to do. So, yeah.
Yes. So, because people usually say that you are the average of the five people closest to you. So, if you have those great five people close to you, then you ultimately are also going to become amazing. So, yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. So, okay, can you tell us something about the cool down period once our resume is rejected?
Yeah,
Yes.
that is usually asked a lot. So the cooldown period is that you can't apply at Google for 90 days. I don't know what the cooldown period, like amount of cooldown period is exactly, but if you're rejected in the resume screening itself, then you need to wait for 90 days and then you can reapply again. So you can reapply as many times as you want, but just that buffer period, in that buffer period, you can't apply. Otherwise, there is no limitations for you to apply. But I would suggest that if you're not sure about your DSS skills, then first get it validated by someone who is already at Google or someone who is your senior and has some experience. So that validation will give you some confidence.
Okay. So, what do you think should be more prevalent for these particular roles, competitive programming or development? I think
So
from
both of
development, maybe something web and app
yeah.
development.
So both of them are important in their own ways. I know I'm giving a diplomatic answer, but that is the reality of this thing. Because competitive programming is something that is going to train your mind. It is kind of a brain exercise. So it is a skill to sharpen your X, right? So even if you don't do competitive programming, it's good if you keep on practicing data structures and algorithms. But competitive programming has some time constraint. You're competing with 1,000 people, 2,000 people at once. So that nervousness is also there. which can be simulated in the interview. So in the interview also you have some time limit. In the competitive programming also you have some time limit. So these situations are kind of equal in simulation. So that helps you prepare for the tough situations ahead. And that being said, development promotes that mindset of system designing, how to build the system together from a scratch, like how the front end can be binded with the back end, how this particular API reacts with this particular API, how the redirection is there, and all those things you learn in web development or app development, which is not possible in competitive programming. So both of them have their own sets of pros, which help you become a good programmer or a developer in future. So both of them I would evaluate equally on.
Also, like a lot of people think that it's for particularly tier 3 and tier 4. People think that it's important to be in like some projects as well, because tier 3 and tier 4 colleges do not get these kind of companies in their on campus placement, so they have to go for off campus. But a lot of times it's like if your resume isn't strong enough to get approved in the first round only, so you won't be able to get in the other coding rounds as well. So, like,
Yes.
what do you think? Like, if it's important to get on some important research projects or some important other kind of projects. So, like, what do you think? What's your take on it?
Yes, projects are definitely important. Like the resume is the first impression that you create on the recruiter and the interviewer. So good projects help in a positive preconditioning of their mind. Like they expect good of you. Correct. So I think LinkedIn helps in that as well. Like I see a lot of people posting about the trendy, cool projects that they are doing. Someone was simulating games using the hand actions that they are doing. Someone was using machine learning in some really cool way. So that helps you broaden your vision as well. So you will get to know that this thing can be done. And the code is also available for you online. They give their GitHub links. So you can just go through their code and try to use it to make a unique project which helps you or the people around you to solve a problem. So there was one webinar that I did 3 days back, and in that the girl sitting like she got a PPO in Microsoft, and she built some projects which helped the Indian Army. Her brother was in Indian Army. So if you build projects which have real life implications, then they are going to be evaluated a lot more than the course projects that you do. So those projects catch a eye lot, like which are unique and which help you solve real life problems. And talking about the research projects, I think I still don't know the opportunities that are available for the research, but you can like see the research opportunities available online. Like you just Google that research internships available in IITs, let's say, or research internships for like CS in Europe. Then there are lots of programs. There are a lot of fellowships which provide you this opportunity of research internship. So you can approach the professors or the PhD students that are working in their lab, and then they can guide you that what are the requirements, how you can build your statement of purpose, how to design your cover letter, and then they will guide you themselves. So that is something that can help.
Okay, so yeah, this was the last question, and this is something for you. So you have answered something about the business internship. So it's yes, Google opened the business internship for Singapore, and he have like given the online challenge, but he didn't get any reply from them. So yeah, something about that.
So if you have not heard a reply for them, that doesn't mean that you are rejected, because they will explicitly send a rejection mail, and they will also state the reason along with that. So when I applied at Google US and Google Europe, so there were some visa issues which are not possible for Indian students for US, due to which my application was rejected. And Europe, they said that there is a lot of influx of applications, and they are not able to evaluate all of them, and hence even some deserving students were being rejected. So they have these reasons. They explicitly mention the reasons frankly, like however bad it may sound about the company, but they are really frank in that thing, and they will explicitly mention a rejection mail if you are rejected. So if you have got no reply, then you can feel at ease that at least you're not rejected for now.
Okay, so that was all. Thank you so much, Anshul. It was like a really, really good session with you, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope all our audience did do. So yeah, thank you so much, and we would like to hear more from you, and definitely we would. And if anyone would like to ask you a question, maybe they can contact you over your LinkedIn and social media profiles.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so thank you so much everyone for joining, and thank you Anshul for giving such a wonderful session.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kushi, for approaching me, and thanks a lot to all the people who are viewing it and will view it in future as well. I hope I
Yeah,
can be of some help to you.
definitely, sure. Okay, thank you.